So we haven't had a new Batman game in a while, and while this isn't exactly the same thing, Gotham Knights is here. Hi folks,
It's pretty similar for the most part.
You need to know about Gotham Knights. Starting off with number 10, the basics of the game.
Okay.
Gotham Knights is an open world, third-person action game that comes to us in the shadow of the legendary Batman Arkham.
This shit looks so stiff though. That's the only thing. I really feel like this game is going to be very stiff. It's going to be worse than like the normal Arkham-like games.
Series, and in many ways, it is pretty similar, but from everything we now know, there's also some pretty obvious differences. So this is an original story. Batman and Commissioner Gordon both dead, and it's up to 4 members of the family to continue the investigation that Batman started and solve the mystery of who killed him and why. Now, instead of playing as a single character for the entire game, you get the choice of playing as Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, or Red Hood.
And when you playing as them, you can swap through anytime that you want. I just fucking found that out watching a video yesterday. You can swap between all 4 of them seamlessly. You don't have to, like, as soon as you go back to the base, you can just say, you know what? I don't really like Red Hood. Let me go to Robin or Nightwing or Batgirl if you want to. You can swap whenever you want. They armor level just gonna be a little lower, so they just, you know, you can easily out level all the rest of them.
Different move sets, different traversal powers. They're not just like 4 different Batman skins. Now, instead of
I like that.
Rocksteady, the guys who made the previous Batman games, well, all except one, it's being made by the guys that made the one that isn't by them. WB Games Montreal, who made the, to be frank, a little bit underrated Batman Arkham Origins. Now, the big thing that I think is on everyone's mind when they hear Batman is dead is Batman actually dead? We don't know the answer. I have suspicions, but the developers are swearing up and down that yes, it's not a fake out. Bruce Wayne is actually dead. D-E-A-D, dead for.
And one thing I did just hear from somebody else reacting to this shit, they was talking about how the Court of Owls was in the graveyard, and one of the trailers, they suspect that Bruce Wayne might come back as a zombie. It's like a theory that might happen.
For real. Now, I take this with a grain of salt. Superhero stuff. Like, remember how long Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were swearing that they weren't in the new Spider-Man movie? Pretty convincingly, might I add. Or, like, let's go back to Batman Arkham Knight, where Rocksteady really convinced everybody that the Arkham Knight was a completely new character. So I'm skeptical that he's actually dead, but it could go either way.
See that little scene right there?
Not an Arkhamverse games. Now, it looks similar to the Arkham games, but WB has confirmed in multiple sources, including their own FAQ, that the game is not part of the Arkhamverse. It's a standalone game.
That's cool.
Its own story, its own characters, and while there might be some little hints or Easter eggs, it's safe to assume that the game is supposed to be in its own continuity, which, yes, is a little confusing because it's a game that came out after Arkham Knight, where Bruce Wayne supposedly died in the end, but the death was not under these same circumstances in this game, so I think that that's a pretty hard piece of evidence. This is genuinely its own continuity. Does that mean
that's cool? It's not bad. I'm glad they wanted to separate it so it don't mess up the fucking story.
Drop in, drop out 2-player online co-op, which they are describing as seamless. Now, apparently, co-op partners will be completely untethered. You can go wherever, do whatever, with or without your partner. Now, to make this work with the game's experience system, co-op partners who are at different levels will scale so that they're basically an almost match, and enemies will also scale to match the team's overall strength.
That's dope.
Limit who you could play as. Either both players can be the same hero if they want to, and you don't actually have to do co-op. You can go through the entire game solo if you want, or you can sometimes play the.
That's actually dope. You could be the same fucking character if you want to, so it could be 2 fucking Nightwings.
Local co-op.
That's dope.
That ain't so almost however.
No couch co-op. That's kind of weak. That's kind of ass. I ain't gonna lie. Cause this would have actually been dope. Split screen. That would have been dope, and it's no crossplay. I guess.
Thing I found about this is how the progression works for both the host and the guest. If you play through a dungeon or a crime with a partner and get ahead of your normal progress, then when you get to that part in your own game, you just get a pop-up asking if you want to replay that sequence, and you can select no and skip it because you already did it. Now, how unlockables and gear progression work in co-op, no idea. It all sounds pretty good, but we'll also see.
I think if somebody beat the game and they get all the fucking like gear upgrades that they need. You join somebody that's lower, you're gonna keep all of the fucking gear upgrades. I think they just gonna scale up to your enemies and the fucking just all the enemies gonna scale up to your level, the higher person level.
How it ends up getting implemented. And number 7 is the combat and gameplay. Combat we've seen is pretty similar to the RPG so far, which zero problem with that. Great combat in those
Yeah,
games,
I'm kind of.
but there are some pretty noteworthy differences. There isn't just a single punch button anymore. There's a light and a heavy attack button, ranged attacks, and a dodge.
As soon as you hit the A,
dodge right, initiate a perfect dodge, which opens up the enemy for a damaging counter attack.
That's
There's
dope.
also a momentum bar, which charges as you build a combo.
It's buff as hell.
Dependent on various unlockable cooldown abilities, kind of like God of War, or dare we say it, a Souls-like. I wouldn't classify this as a Souls-like, just to be
Not at all.
But there's a lot of variety in the momentum attacks. There's the simple area of effect blast. You can summon drones. There's like a heavy damaging beatdown attack, interrupting moves.
I'm seeing fucking
like that.
life bars on the characters. I'm just hoping they don't get fucking bullet spongy, well, punch spongy, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
This is still kind of vague.
Crafting an upgrade. Okay.
New gear and costumes. You collect various bits of loot. I would assume this is how you spend it, but the whole system is kind of a big question at the moment. So we will have to kind of wait and see exactly how this all fits together. And number 6 is the villains. It's a Batman game, so of course you're going to want to know what the villains are. In various trailers, we've seen a few major villain groups, but it's pretty obvious they're leaving some surprises for us in the final game. We do know about Mr. Freeze, a new take on
Mr. Freeze, Harley Quinn,
maybe a little more dangerous. Clayface, who seems to be spawning like a whole gang of zombie-like clay monsters.
That's dope.
And also the Court of Owls seem to be the primary villains of the game. A relatively new group of villains created by Scott Snyder in either Batman, the new 52 issue 2 or 3, depending on who you ask. The Court of Owls are like a secret collective of rich Gotham families who secretly control the city and use these assassins called Talons to dispose of their enemies. They kind of remind me of
they just cheating off that though.
In aesthetic. Those are the main bad guys.
Cheating like, bro. Every time we get the steal or the tip, they always giving it back.
Got a pig mask.
They always giving it back.
Trailer. His name is Professor Pig, P-Y-G. I'm pretty sure he's just a random goon, though. We don't know if Joker's going to be in the game. Have no idea.
I doubt it.
It is a separate continuity, so Joker's death from Arkham City, it didn't happen here. So, I mean, it's possible. I don't know if it's going to happen.
True.
It's possible. We do know Mark Hamill loves working. However, the devs have claimed that Joker is not in the game. I got no idea, though. I'm sure they're holding off on revealing at least the two bad guys, though.
Fucking
and
lip dry as hell.
Skill trees. Unlike the upgrades of the Arkham series, Gotham Knights has a more traditional skill tree system, similar to the ones found in games like Borderlands.
Which I fucking like.
Trees they can put points into, unlocks new momentum abilities, new skills, or does more things like
yeah, most of that shit pretty simple. Actually, hold on, let me go back real quick.
There's 4 skill trees.
So the ones with the 1 on it is gonna take 1 fucking skill point and 2, and the max I'm seeing is 3 skill points. It's not bad, I guess. It's not bad. Fuck with it.
Unlocks new momentum abilities, new skills, or does more mundane things like increase their passive damage, health, critical hit chances. 3 of the skill trees for each character unlock normally.
I ain't gonna lie, when I get into this shit, I'm rather finna run Knighthood or I'm running or Robin. I think I'm finna run Robin though for sure.
Some of the best abilities are apparently locked behind the Knighthood tree, particularly new traversal abilities like gliding for Batgirl, or special abilities and certain ultimates. Now, thankfully, you can switch characters whenever you want. Your progression remains the same. So if you select a new character, you still have access to the same amount of skill points.
This bitch got a tonfa that turns into a nut that turns into nunchucks. That's lit. I like that. She lit.
Yeah, I got something.
Cut that shit off, please. Thank you.
And number 4 is Gotham's Day and Night Cycle. According to developers, this is the biggest version of Gotham ever in a video game. They also claim it is the most dynamic and interactive one yet, which is bold.
Okay.
5 distinct boroughs to explore, and unlike
5 big boroughs. I'm just hoping the shit's not dead like almost every fucking game ever that makes big ass open worlds.
Relatively normal instead of being taken over by like an evil army or in the middle of a snowstorm. Progression in the open world works differently here too.
Okay.
Story taking place over a single night. It occurs over multiple nights. The bulk of the gameplay happens at night when the heroes are suited up and gone.
Yeah, it's only time it's gonna be who the fucking text me. But the only time it's gonna be morning time is when you're inside the fucking base. Other than that, you'll never see daylight and this shit.
Street crimes don't get repeated if you fail, unlike the major story missions. But when you return to the Belfry, the Gotham Knights main base, it becomes daytime, and when you choose to go out again, it becomes night again, and all the crimes in the city reset. The city is supposed to change pretty drastically over the course of these several days. Like there's major events where Mr. Freeze's attack changes things. Harley Quinn takes over the asylum, apparently.
I like that.
Change the open world in pretty significant ways.
Hey, to Harley Quinn looking old than a motherfucker.
Major events happen on certain
Menopause whipping her ass.
Status quo on the night, which sounds very interesting. I'm not exactly sure how much of an impact it's going to have, but I'm also curious to see how it works out. At number 3, the traversal.
I feel like the fucking the little street crime shit that they gonna have, that shit gonna repeat all the time.
Actually pretty cool. For one of the most significant ways that each night is different from the other 3 is the traversal mechanics. Now each character does get a bat cycle to drive around and does get a grappling hook. But apart from that, everybody has different ways to get around the city. With Nightwing, you have a glider. Yes, it does look a lot like Breath of the Wild in Gotham. But the Red Hood gets this weird mystical step ability to jump through the air. There's also
I really don't care too much. That shit.
Pretty handy.
It's alright, I guess.
Character-specific movement powers are kind of odd, particularly Robin's, I guess, teleportation thing. But I'll reserve judgment until I get the hands on the game to test it all out. It looks interesting, though. And number 2 is Collectibles. Everybody remembers the many Riddler trophies in the previous Batman games.
Okay.
I'm wondering if they're back for this one. They aren't. They are apparently all unique collectibles, like hidden batarangs, Gotham street art, landmarks. I don't know exactly if that's all there is, but those are at least categorically some of them. But
okay.
There's only 100 rather than several hundred, because if you're sick of all the trophy hunting from the previous games, I mean, there's some, but like it's not going to wear out its welcome like the Riddler trophies. On the flip side, if you really loved hunting Riddler trophies,
I'm not really a collectible person myself, so I really don't care. This had nothing to do with me.
It's not the same. And finally, at number 1, the game is coming out on October 21st. This is 4 days earlier than the original release date. It is only coming to the next-gen systems. So PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. So... They done castrated the fuck out of them current-gen people. That's fucked up. It does look a little bit better than the Arkham games. We do see some next generation effects.
That's cool. I like it. I'm enjoying it. Now they trying to get people into. This is gonna be the first push into getting people into the new fucking systems. I like that.
I have one of these. I don't want to get another one. Then don't worry, because you're good. Overall, I think it looks like a good game. I don't know that they've really hyped it in the way that they could have, because frankly, I have been wanting to jump back into this type of a game from these developers, whether it be Rocksteady or WB.
I like this.
Like, all of the Arkham games are good in their own right, and the style of game is particularly enjoyable, so it's nice to see that here, as well as some diversification of some of the gameplay elements.
The little takedowns is lit.
Play it, to be frank. I don't know if they're gonna drop some big like bombshell between now and release to really ratchet up the hype. It's quite possible, but as it stands, it just straightforwardly looks like we're gonna get a pretty good Batman Arkham style game that takes place in at least a Batman universe. So
that's cool.
For me, it seems like this is probably a solid bet on a pretty darn good game. That's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think.
Shit. That was 10 fucking things you need to know about Gotham Knights. That shit was cool. I was fucking with it. That should drop October 21st. If y'all enjoyed that motherfucker, let me know if y'all finna be picking that shit up. That shit is great. That shit is godlike. I ain't gonna cap. I'm honestly excited for that game now. Hold on, baby, hit the pug on, do you dance on it? Bust it down, baby, let me see, spread them legs, let me see what you got. Do your job, I got a check for you. Throw a couple bands, put in work, I got some more for you. Slow it down for me, drop it down, go get wild for me, smile for me, bend it over, go and touch your toes for me. Pause for me, get the can, baby, do a show for me. All money, if you clean it good, I got a note for you.